Usually, we on Thursday nights talk about the Sedra, and we try to scratch off some of the surface, and we find little bits of silver. And then if we dig still deeper, we'll find nuggets of gold. If we'll dig still deeper, we'll find gems. And Purim is coming, and tonight I'll deviate from my general Seder, from what we usually do. Tonight I just want to speak about Purim. What these Sfarim tell us about Purim, and have a little insight of what a Purim should be. Like I've mentioned, Purim is not understood, and perhaps we're not supposed to understand it, because Chayav Adam L'Psumi B'Puria Adala Yada. The Gemara says Samach Aleph is not an ordinary Pesach, and Rabbeinu Shalom gives us this Pesach to accomplish the calling of this very special Tafshin Samach Aleph Pesach. You probably know that Yidden over the world, and especially in Eretz Yisrael, are in a big sakana. This Yamach Shmainik of the Arabs, I don't want to mention his name in Amakim Kadesh, as I was told today, has declared hundreds of days of Milchama Kegen the Yidden. In other words, we find ourselves in a matzav of Milchama. I would so much want you to sit. So, Shavuos is Torah, and Sukkot is Ananikovet. Pesach is Milchama. Ka'ois one and Nissen Mekama V'Farei, Ois is a Moshe Matmos Neichem. And Apadenu Mekat Kahu Aritza, Anifchalanu from the Order Tzaris, which is the Bracha on Yetzias Mitzrayim by Ma'ariv. We're in Milchama now. But we, Yidden, we know that we do not wage Milchama with swords or with helicopters. Eila berechev, v'yeila basusim, v'nachnu v'shem Hashem Elokeinu nazikia. Our kayach is the Shem Hashem Elokeinu, and with keeping Pesach, that's how we wage Milchama. The Milchama, the front is not in Ramallah, and it's not in Gaza, it's here. That's where the Milchama is. We are the Tzva Hashem, and with our Torah, with our Tefillah, with our Tzedakah, like it says, Hakar l'kol yainka v'yadayim yaday Yosef. So the Gemara says, "B'zman she'akar l'kol yainka, ein ha'yadayim yaday Yosef." With the kol yainka, that's with what we go to the Milchama.
Pesach, the Gemara says that Yidden used to say Hallel when they were making the korban Pesach, and then they said Hallel, Merapsen Igre, and the ceiling split. That's the kind of a Hallel they said. So, with our Hallel, with our Haggadah, that's how we approach the Pesach. The Targum says that in Eicha, the Targum says in Eicha that speaking about the Goyim who came into the Beis Hamikdash and made it Charev, they came on the Har Habayis, Kayol Nasnu Beveis Hashem Ki Yom Mayed. The Goyim came in with shouts of victory and with hailing Ki Yom Mayed. So the Targum Yonason says that the noise, the victorious applause that the Goyim came into the Beis Hamikdash with was Kikar Am Beis Yisrael the Mitzalim B'Yom Pesach, like Yidden who are Mispalel when Pesach comes. So, in other words, if we want the Har Habayis, if we want Yerushalayim, we can't do it with rifles, with Uzis, with helicopters. We can do it with our tefillah, to counteract and to neutralize their shouts of glory when they come on the Har Habayis. So we have to, this Pesach, we have to go to war. And there is an Indian, especially, that Kaidim Ko, there are 3 Yomim Tovim, Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkos. These 3 Yomim Tovim, Chazal tell us, are connected to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Avraham Avinu, that's Pesach. Yitzchak, he's Gvura, that's Shavuos, Matan Torah. Anoichi v'lo yilecha mipi Gvura shemanu. Sukkos, that's Yaakov, the Zohar says. V'Yaakov nasa Sukkaisa, v'yivna lo Sukkos, v'mikneo asa Sukkos, v'yikra Shem HaMakim Sukkos, and the Zohar explains that Sukkos is the Yom Tov of Yaakov. Avraham is Pesach. Avraham Avinu is Emunah. He's the first one that you find, the first time you find Emunah in the Torah, you find by Avraham Avinu. V'hemen b'Hashem v'yachshaveh alei tzedakah. And Pesach we find by Avraham Avinu. All the atzlachis of Avraham Avinu were all Pesach. The bris bein Absarim was on Pesach. The milchama that he had with the Abba Melachim, which symbolized the 4 Malchiyos of the Golus, was on Pesach. The Malachim came to him to be Mevasel, Leidas Yitzchak. It was on Pesach. And by none of the Yavais we find matzahs, except by Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu, his Yom Tov is Pesach. Avraham Avinu, his Midah is Emunah. We are Maminim b'nei Maminim. V'hemen b'Hashem. Because we have the Emunah, a Yerusha from Avraham Avinu. And everything that Pesach is about is Emunah. Like the Ohev Yisrael says, the Aptarav, today's is the Yortzeit. So he says that Yidden have to give over the emunah to their children and to themselves. And the time for that is Pesach. And especially Pesach at night by the Seder. So when the Torah says, V'gadata levincha, and when the Torah says, B'avotasapa, b'yazne vincha, v'en bincha, es asher asalauti b'mitzrayim, it's so the Gemara says, and it's in the Agada, it's a Braisa, Yacham eresh chayidash, tamdolaim mebayid yaim, tamdolaim b'yayim u'i, b'yayim u'yachar mebayid yaim, tamdolaim b'avozeh, b'avozeh la yamarti ela b'shosh yesh matzu umara munachim lefanecha. When you have matzah umara, that's a very special zman, which is mesugal, to implant emunah in your children and into yourself. And the matzah, the Zayar says, is called meichla de meimenusa, a food of emunah. The matzah that we eat is not stam flour and water. The matzah that we eat is a special ma'achal which contains emunah in itself. When we speak, let's say, about a certain food, so let's say we speak about a certain chocolate cake. So we're going to say, oh, it's a chocolate cake and it's very delicious. A doctor, a scientist, will talk differently about a chocolate cake. He'll speak about the carbohydrates in that cake. He'll speak about the potassium in that cake, about the vitamins. He sees different things that we don't see. Now, the matzah has in itself Shemay Sagadayshim. I think I once mentioned this to you. The Rabbeinu Shloim made the world and conducts the affairs of the world through his Shemay Sagadayshim, through the 7 Shemay Shalayim Mechakim, and everything goes with the Shemas. And there's a special food which contains all foods, which is the kailal of all foods, and that's lechem, bread. A person can never get tired of eating bread, because Rabbeinu Shloim created the world with asara mamaris, with 10 kaiches, and everything in the world consists of 1 or 2 or 3 of these asara mamaris. Bread consists of all the asara mamaris, and that's why it says in Shulchan Aruch that the bracha over bread has 10 words. That bracha, Hamaytzi lechem min haaretz, has 10 words in it. And there are 10 mitzvahs that you do in bread before it becomes bread. And you're supposed to take the bread when you say Hamaytzi with your 10 fingers. Bread contains everything. So there are people who don't like this kind of a food, but they like that food. Others have different likes or dislikes for food. But bread is for everybody. And when we make a Hamaytzi lechem, you don't have to make a bracha over anything else in the meal, because lechem is kailel. Lechem contains everything in it. And since Rabbeinu Shloim made this world with the Ika Frikaiches, Chesed, Gvur, and Teferes, so lechem is the gematria 3 times the Shem Havaya. Havaya is 26, am I right? Now 3 times 26 is 78. That's lechem. Matzah has many more profound shemus in it, more than plain lechem. Because the Shem Havaya is 26. That's when I spell it plain, Yud Kei Vav Kei. But when I fill up the Shem Havaya, Malay, when it's full, Yimalei Hashem, when the Shem Havaya is Malay, it's more than 26. Because the Yud is pronounced Yud Vav Daled. And the Hey is Hey Aleph. So it comes out Yud is Yud Vav Daled, so we have 20, right? Then the Hey Aleph together is 26. And then the Vav Aleph Vav is that makes it 39. And then the Hey Aleph, that makes it 45. And that's how the Ari HaKadosh says, that's on Pesach, we have the Shem Havaya b'miluay. And that's the in of the Birchas Hatal. The Birchas Hatal is Meire Tatal. Rabban Shalom takes the 39, the first 3 Aisias of the Shem Havaya, and it brings it down to this world where the second Hay is. So that's 45. Matzah, in contrast to Lechem, which is Begematria 3 times Havaya, Matzah is Begematria 3 times 45. The Shem Havaya b'miluay. It's just a little idea of what matzah is. Matzah is a very, very special food. It's meichla de menusa. It's food for emuna, the Zayah says. And also meichla de asvasa, a food which is a refuah. It's a refuah sanefesh and a refuah saguf. So when we eat matzah, which it consists of flour and water, which grew from the Tafshin Samach harvest, there's more to it in that matzah. The flour and the water are the products of Tafshin Samach. But the sheimais in it, these are the sheimais of Geula. How much is Geula b'gematria? 45. Then matzah is gematria 3 times 45, 3 times Geula. So when we eat matzah, we eat the matzah of this last year's harvest, but the sheimais in that matzah are the exact sheimais with which the Rabban Shalom was Gayal Yisrael in Mitzrayim, the sheimais of Geula. Now imagine if the Yidden in Mitzrayim baked matzah, and that matzah was their Geula. Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron and all the Yidden baked matzah b'kedusha, and they ate it together with the Korban Pesach. Now supposing somebody would dig in Mitzrayim, an archaeologist would dig in Mitzrayim, and he would find a piece of matzah which was sharayim from what the Yidden baked in Mitzrayim. You would a kzayis matzah. You wouldn't give $1,000 for it. As a heilige matzah. A matzah that the Yidden had baked in Mitzrayim, but thought a bit shameless of Geula. This matzah took them out of Mitzrayim. Well, when we eat matzah, we eat the exact identical matzah that the Yidden ate in Mitzrayim. Because it isn't the flour and the water which took them out of Mitzrayim. It's those shameless agadashim, and we have the same thing. This is the same matzah that Yidden ate in Mitzrayim. It's the same matzah, the same geula. It comes down again. And our piece of matzah is worth $1,000 at least, even though we get it for cheaper. Even though a pound of matzah costs 13 times as much as a pound of bread. But it's worth much, much more. It's worth as much as what the archaeologist finds in the pyramids. It's the same matzah that the Yidden ate in Mitzrayim. The Targum Yonasan says a very interesting thing in Parashas Yisrael, Ve'esa eschem akanfin nesharim. So the Targum Yonasan, if you have the better Chamashim, you have the Targum of Rabbi Yonasan ben Azriel on the side. So the Targum Yonasan says that when the Yidden were in Mitzrayim, and they had to eat a korban pesach. You can't eat a korban pesach in Mitzrayim. You got to eat it in Yerushalayim. So the Ananya Kavod came and carried all the Yidden away to Yerushalayim, and they ate the korban pesach with the matzah in Yerushalayim, and then the Ananya Kavod carried them back to Ramses, and from there they went out of Mitzrayim. It's a medrash of Chazal, Rabbi Yonasan ben Azir. The Chaver of Rabbi Yonasan ben Zakkai, that the Gemara says that Hillel had 80 Talmidim. The biggest one was Yonasan ben Azir, and the smallest one was Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. So he says that in the Targum Yonasan. So when we eat the matzah on Pesach at night, we may not feel it, but whatever happens on a Yom Tov, the same thing happens over and over again as the first time. In the Shayresh of our Nefesh, on Pesach at night, we go to Yerushalayim, and we eat that matzah on the Har HaBayis in Yerushalayim. Our Shayresh Neshama feels it, even though we may not feel it. And you should realize what's happening. You're going to Yerushalayim. And therefore, because this is Mitzrayim, so therefore the Shana Haba B'Yara Yerushalayim. This year is coming, the Shana Haba, the year that comes to Yerushalayim. We're coming to Yerushalayim. So we make a bracha al Achilas Matzah. Achilas Matzah is B'Gematria Yerushalayim. Because when we eat that Gezayis Matzah at night, we're actually in Yerushalayim. There was a machlaikas, I think I once told you this, between a very big tzaddik, very great tzaddik, from Galicia, and he didn't like the derech avodah of Ramendele Kotzko. It was that's a different kind of avodah, like today's Polish Hasidim, the Gera Hasidim, the Alexander. It's a different kind of an avodah. He didn't like that, and he had a machlaikas with the Kotzko. So this tzaddik sends a messenger to Ramendele Kotzko and he says, Do you undertake to have a machlaikas with me? Do you know that on Sukkot I can see with my eyes the way the 7 Ishpizim come to my sukkah, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Yosef, and David? So the Kotzker answered him, and with me you dare to have a machlaikas? Do you know that on Sukkot I believe that the 7 Ishpizim come to me? Believing is bigger than seeing. Emunah is bigger than Re'iyah. I do it with Emunah. Now, of course, Rav Mendele Kotzker also saw the Ishpizim, but that's what he answered to that tzaddik. So, we don't see that we're traveling to Yerushalayim, but with the Emunah, you're there. Achilas Matzah, we make a bracha al Achilas Matzah, and there's B'Gematria Yerushalayim. And the Matzah is Emunah, which Avraham Avinu baked. You find no place in the Chumash that anybody baked matzahs except Avraham Avinu, and of course his nephew Lot, who learned it from him. But matzah belongs to Avraham Avinu. Emunah. So with Emunah we believe that we are in Yerushalayim and we're reading the matzah on the Har HaBayis. Where do we find Emunah by Avraham Avinu? V'hamin b'ad Hashem v'yachshaveh lo tzedakah. It's the Yesod of all the mitzvahs. Like I explained to you last year, that the Rambam says that Emunah is the first mitzvah, and that's the first of the Aseres HaDibros. Anech Hashem Elokecha asher tzisicha me'eretz Mitzrayim. Emunah has a shaychus with Mitzrayim, with Yetzias Mitzrayim. The Ramban says no. Emunah is not in the cheshbon of the Taryag mitzvahs. It's more than that. It's the Yesod of all the mitzvahs. You can't start Taryag mitzvahs without Emunah. If you don't believe Chas v'Shalom in a mitzvah, there's no mitzvah. Emunah is the prerequisite for the mitzvahs. It's the Hagdama to the mitzvahs. and that's matzah. The Avram Avinu, the Agdama to Klal Yisrael, the beginning of Klal Yisrael. So, Pesach, we attach ourselves with emunah to the Rabbeinu Shalom. Actually, in the side of the Madreigas, Pesach is a small Yom Tov. Yidden went out of Mitzrayim, they didn't learn Torah yet, nothing. It's the beginning. That's why in Pesach we don't even say Gans Halal, except the first day. But from Chalamayid and on, we say only a Chatzi Halal. On Shavuos, we already got the Torah, so we're bigger. On Shavuos, we say already the whole Halal. And on Sukkot, which is connected Yankev Avinu, that's a Shleimus, the Bechir of Oriyam Tovim. Like Yankev Avinu is the Bechir of Oriyav, is B'nai Yankev Bechirav. Sukkot is much higher yet. So Pesach is only the beginning. But Pesach is the smallest Yom Tov as far as the Madreiga of Madreigis are concerned. On Shavuos we're in the bigger Madreiga. On Sukkot we're still in the bigger Madreiga, especially after Yom Kippur. But Pesach is the very beginning, it's the Genesis. It's the Avram Avinu, the beginning. Yankov was bigger than Avram, but Avram is the beginning. In that prat, he's the Reishis, he's the beginning. Because Avram Avinu is Mekasher us with Emunah. We're bound to the Rabbeinu Shalom with Emunah. So therefore, by Shavuos and Sukkot, you won't find no kares. Like the Chedush Yerim explains, that any Aveira, there are 36 krisis, 36 Aveiras that a person is chayiv kares on. These Aveira, these mitzvahs attach him to the Rabbeinu Shalom. Because if he's over on that mitzvah, it's kares, he's cut off. So Adrabah, that shows that, like the Ramban says, that through the einish of a mitzvah, you know how big the mitzvah is. So that mitzvah binds you to the Rabbeinu Shalom much more. If somebody, what's the biggest Aveira somebody could do on Sukkot? Who do Olay Sasa, who do a Malacha? Is Chayiv Malchus. What's the biggest Aveira somebody can do on Shavuos? A Malacha. Is Chayiv Malchus. What Aveira can somebody do Loyalenu on Pesach to eat Chametz? Is Chayiv Kares. Because Pesach attaches you, it's Mikasha you with the Rabbeinu Shalom. And you can see it from the Einish, that the Einish is Kares. And therefore, every mitzvah says that if somebody is over on, like having this week's Sedra, you bring the carbon oil on, and you do tshuva, and it's immediately forgiven. For a license, you already need Yom Kippur. Kares is still worse than Yom Kippur. But there are two mitzvahs Esa that a person is chayiv kares on: Pesach and Mila, and both have a shaychus with Avram Avinu. Pesach, if he doesn't bring the carbon Pesach, is chayiv kares, because he has to attach himself to the Rabbeinu Shalom. That's Pesach. And if somebody isn't gemalit, he can't be makriv the carbon Pesach. Even Mila Savatav is meyakivim from the carbon Pesach. Because Pesach is Mila's brise shel Avram Avinu. You have to attach yourself to the Rabbeinu Shalom with a band, with a kasha shel kayama. Because the opposite is chas v'shalom kares. That's emunah. That's Avram Avinu, v'hemen b'ad Hashem v'yachshaveh aloi tzedakah. Emunah. We make a bracha al achilas matzah, and that's mikasheres with Avram Avinu. Al achilas matzah is begematria v'hemen b'ad Hashem v'yachshaveh aloi tzedakah. Figure it out when you get your calculators. The Zayar also tells us that besides that matzah being meichle dem heimenusa, a meichle of emunah, it's also meichle dias vasa, a meichle of refuah. So the Sfarim say that Nisan is a special chaydish for refuah, and it's surrounded by two chadashim of refuah. because Adar is a Chodesh of Refuah, like the Sfarim say, because it's Yedua that the Dalid stands for Hashem. When we want to write Hashem, and when we write the Dalid, because that's referring to the four Isis of the Shem Havaya. Adar is Rosh Teivos Ani Hashem Reifecha. Iyar is also Rosh Teivos Ani Hashem Reifecha. These are two Chadashim of Refuah. Being that Nisan is in the middle, so Nisan is also a Chodesh of Refuah. That's what the Sfarim say. I wanted to add something to that. Yerach Nisan is Begematria Ani Hashem Reifecha. You don't need it that is just in the middle. It's in its own right a Chodesh of Refuah. Because on Nisan we eat matzah. That's a Meichel of Refuah. So therefore, in the Yerach Nisan, when we eat matzah, we have Emunah and Refuah. So Yerach Nisan is Begematria Emunah Refuah. On Pesach, Yankov Avinu received the brachas from Yitzchak. V'yitna lecha lekim etal hashamayim mishmanei haaretz. And like the Targum Yonason says, Yitzchak said to Esav, tonight, it was Erev Pesach, and Yitzchak said to Esav, tonight, the Eitzres of Tal are opening up. All the brachas are totally in Tal. Like I explained before, Tal is the milli of the Isis Yud Kei Vav, and it comes down to the Hay, to Knesset Yisrael. So, go and bring me matamim, and I'll bench you, because there's this man of brachis of Tal. So Esav went, you know the minds, he learned your Chumash, and Yankov came with Shnei Gedaya Yizim. So Rashi says one was a carbon Pesach and one was a carbon Chagiga. It was Pesach at night. And Avram Avinu got the brachas of the Tal. V'yidna l'chor lekim mital hashemayim. That was Pesach at night. And Yankov stole the brachas from Esav on that night. And perhaps that's a remez to stealing the Afekaiman on Pesach at night. Yankov steals the brachas. It's a steal, but he gets it. So, Pesach at night, the Eitzres of Tal open up. And therefore, the next morning, Pesach in the morning, we bench Tal. And in the Marzayrim, you have the Piyut of Tal. It's based on every paragraph starts with one of the words of the pasuk Yiftach Hashem Lecha Es Etzari Atay Ves Hashemayim Tal Hashemayim. It's the Eitzres of Tal open up. Brachos of Torah, brachos of Hashpais Toivos. The Chassam Sofer used to say that I learn Chishma, and I say, if you're going to be good, so I'm not a farmer. I don't gather my corn from the field, or my tiresh from the vineyard, or my yitzhar, my oil from the grove. I'm not a farmer. I have in zin in the pneumius of the things. The gancha means halacha. Tereishcha means agada. Yitzharecha, oil, shemen, Seidas HaTorah. So the Chassam Sofer says, that's what I have in Zin by Krishna. The Rabbeinu Shalom should give me halacha and agada and the Seidas HaTorah. And Bemis, it's a medrash. V'yitna l'chor lekim metal hashemayim, so the medrash says, metal hashemayim zu mikra, u'mishmane yo'eretz zu mishne, v'reiv dagan zu halacha, v'tirash zu agada. So really, the brachas that we get Pesach at night for a Ben Torah, when he steals the brachas of Pesach at night, because everything that says in the Chumash happens every year over and over again. So when he gets it, he gets brachas of Tavla Shema, of halacha and agada and mikra and mishnah and halacha and agada. He gets it all. Pesach at night, all of this come in together with the matzah. Everything opens up. And Yiftach Hashem L'ches Etzari Atayv. And it opens up the Eitzvus. Yiftach Hashem L'ches Etzari Atayv. That's why we eat matzah. Matzah is the key. The key to open up the Eitzvus. The Yiftach Hashem L'ches Etzari Atayv. The Taich matzah means to open up. The Targum Unculus on matzah, you're always going to have patiraya. Patiraya means to open up, like patarechem, the opening of the womb. It's the key. Pesach is the key. And that's why on the Shabbos after Pesach, it's a minhag by Yidden that you use a key and you puncture the chalas with a key. Because it's not matzah anymore, so I use another key. But the key, that's it. I'm just going through a little bit about the yin of the Pesach. That's as far as the matzah is concerned. And then on Pesach we drink Arba Kaisais. Arba Kaisais are mentioned twice in the Torah. And the Rashbam in the Perek Arvei Psachim says, how do we know that you spoke the Chachamim that were Kaveya Arba Kaisais, and what were the Seimachan? And the 4 times Kais that you have by the Sarah Mashkin. The Kais Parei Biyadi, Ve'etnes HaKais, HaKaf Parei, and so 4 times it says Kais. So therefore we drink Arba Kaises. There's another Chazal that says that the Arba Kaises are connected the Arba L'Shani Shel Geula. V'tzeisi, v'yitzalti, v'ga'alti, v'lokachti. These are the 4 Lashonis of Geula. So connected these 4 Lashonis of Geula, we drink the Arba Kaises. And both are Chazal. There are 2 inyanim in the Arba Kaises. In Mitzrayim there were 10 makis. But the Zayah says that these 10 makis were 10 refuahs. Every makah was a makah l'Mitzrayim and a refuah l'Yisrael. So therefore, there is a niyan of kais hatarayla, the bitter kais. So the 4 kaises are 4 bitter makas that come from the Shem Havaya on the Mitzrayim and or the son of Yisrael. On the other hand, the kaises are 4 Lashonos of Geula. These are the refuah for the Yidden, so the kais consists really both. So that's why when we say the 10 makas, we spill from the kais. Because these 10 makas are the bad part of the kais. The makkah for Mitzrayim. We don't want to drink the matzah, the makkah. When we mention the makkahs, we spill out the top of the kais. Either with our finger, like the Ramah says, or with our hand, and we spill it. We spill some of the kais into a broken keli, the Area Kodesh says. That means a sitra achra, the kayach of the klipper, the tumah. And then we take that wine and we spill it out. We don't drink it. The wine that you spill out by the 10 makas, you spill out. Because it's makas for the mitzvim, we don't want it. And then you refill the kais, and that already is the Arba Lashonos of Geula for the Yidden, and that we do drink. In other words, the Arba Kaisais means 2 things: Negef l'Mitzrayim, v'Rapei l'Yisrael. And that's why we find such a big tararam in the Haggadah about the Makis. We mention the Makis. And then we say that the makas come in 3 sets. The tzachadash biachad. And then we said that every makir was 4 makis. And then we said that Rabbi Akiva says every makir was 5 makis. And then we said that in the Yam Suf there was 50 makis. Every makir was 5 makis. Hayada Gedoyle. So Memela, like Rabbi Elazar, there was 200 makis by the Yam Suf. Like Rabbi Akiva, there was 250 makis by the Yam Suf. And the whole Arichas and the children are hungry, and we're keeping on counting more and more makis. Why? Because when we say the Agada, we're mamshechet, we bring it, we activate it. So the more makis we find, the more makis we darshan, the more makis it'll be for the Asani Yisrael, and the more refuah it'll be for Yidden. So really, when we say the makis and the Agada, and when we spill from the case, we're at war. We're in a helicopter. We're bombing Ramallah. That's what happens. That's when we are at war. That's our Muhammad, Kagan the Klipper. And the Ikar Muhammad really starts off Erev Pesach. When we burn the chametz, Erev Pesach, we invite the chametz. Bedikas chametz is a big, big thing. There's a symbol in Bedikas chametz. It's a minig Yisrael that comes from the Ariya Kodesh, that we cut 10 pieces of chametz, and that's what we're baiting. 10 pieces, 10 small pieces of chametz. These 10 small pieces of chametz are connected the Asara Mamares, which are the Eser Kaiches HaNefesh, the same 10 words of Amaisi. Because a person has 10 Kaiches HaNefesh. Into Kabbalah I won't go now. Firstly, because I don't know it. And secondly, because now is not the time for it. But there are 10 Kaiches HaNefesh. They are Chachme Bina Das, Chesed Gevura Teferes, Netzach Eid Yesod, and Malchus. These are 10 kaiches in each person. The first 3 are intellectual kaiches, and the other 7 are character kaiches. Chesed, Gevura, Teferes, Netzach Eid Yesod, and Malchus. So these are the 10 psi. Each one of them can come in Kedusha or in Tumah. And then we're baidik the chametz, and we're baidik the chametz in our heart. That's the ikar. Avada, the halach is to be baidik the chametz. But the pnimius advarim, get the Yetzirah out of your heart. Get the bad kaiches nefesh out of your heart. Purify, cleanse your nefesh. Chesed should be for the Rabbeinu Shalom, Ahava. Gevura should be for the Rabbeinu Shalom, Yiras Shemayim. Teferes should be to the Rabbeinu Shalom, and the Fa'erecha, and so on and so forth. So we're baitik the chametz in our hearts. Rabbi Yisrael Vishnitzer once went with his candle being baitik chametz, and he was accompanied by one of his great chassidim, I forgot his name. And then Rabbi Yisrael Vishnitzer calls out, look into my heart, see if you find chametz. Be baitik the chametz in my heart, he says to the chassid. Get the chametz out of my heart. Be baidik. So the chassid answered, the Gemara says, Makem shem achnisin by chametz ein yitzarach bedika. We don't bring in chametz, you don't have to be baidik. But that's the Indian. Be baidik the ra, the amalek, the kaiches sarah of the heart. So when we burn the chametz the day after the night of bedikas chametz, those 10 psisim, we say Yehiratzai, the symbol of the chametz. It means all the bad kaiches that don't let Mashiach come, the Yetzirah, the Amalek. So we say the Yehiratzai after the Kol Chamira, we're mevadol the chametz, kiyafcha deyara. Like Avram Avinu, who went to fight against the Abba Malachim with Afra Deyara, with Afar, not with swords. And we say, Yerasam Ufnech Hashem Elokeinu V'Elokei Avosseinu, Shetrachem Aleinu, V'Satzaleinu Meyisa Chametz, Afilu Mikosheru. And Kshem Shani Mevayah Chametz Mibeisi Mirshusi, Kach Tevayras Achitzainem. Rebbeinu Shleilim, clean out the Chetzonim, cleanse it. V'sruach hatumah tevoyer min haaretz. The ruach hatumah get out of the land. V'syitzreinu hara tevoyer mi'itanu. V'chal hasitra achre. And the whole kaiches of Ra, the Satan, v'chal haklipos, v'chal harisha, kosh and tifle, v'sava memshel zad min haaretz, v'chal ha'meikim l'shchina, all those who oppress the Shechina Gedosha, tevuarem, destroy them, b'ruach ba'er v'ruach mishpat. Kshem shibiyatis mitzrayim v'salahayim b'yem ha'mayim b'zman hazeh. And the same way that I burn the chametz, that's like activating that Rabbeinu Shleilim should burn the chametz of the world. The chametz of the world are the kaiches hara and the umais, the 7 umais, together with the Kenya Knizia Kadmoni that make it 10. And especially Amalek, the top. That's the kaiches hara. So we burn the chametz. And this year is a special year. The Ikar Biur Chametz were mekayim with Bittul Chametz. Bittul Chametz is on Shabbos this year. Anything that happens on Shabbos is by thousands of thousands times multiplied. This year is a special year. It says in Nimrei Nayam that when Erev Pesach comes out on Shabbos, it's very Mesugah Mashiach should come. And it could be explained. Because it says in Isaiah that Mechemes Amalek will be on Erev Pesach. And that's Pshat Mechemes Amalek, when we burn the Chametz. The Amalek is the Chametz of the world, the Yetzer Hara. And it's impersonated by certain nations, by Esav and by Yishmael. Yishmael and is called the Oirev, and Esav is called the Zarzel. Allah Zarzel writes the Oirev, Mepnei Shul Minei, the Gemara says. Vayelech Esav al Yishmael. Esav and Yishmael always work together. Today it's Yishmael. Today Esav works through Yishmael, through the Arabs. If by keeping Pesach, by destroying the Chametz, by going to fight and burning the Chametz in your kitchen, in your heart, and by eating matzah, and by spilling the wine by the kaisis, and by mentioning the makis, and by saying the drashis, you're destroying Yishmael. That's the Milchama. The Milchama is not in Ramallah and not in Aza. It's right here in the Smedrish, or in your backyard where you burn the chametz, or in your living room when you say the Haggadah and you eat the matzah. That's when you're going to war. That's when your helicopters are destroying the Yishmaelim. Especially this year, when we're mekayim the mitzvah of Bittul Chametz on Shabbos. It's a special Bittul Chametz. And therefore, it's a very interesting thing that we make the bracha al biur chametz to be mevayah, to destroy it. But the Torah doesn't say you should be mevayah the chametz. The Torah says tashpisu siyar mepatzaychem with the kayach of Shabbos. With the kayach of Shabbos, that's a very big bittul chametz, and that's through the emunah. The emunah of the matzah, getting out the chametz, which is kfira, and eating the matzah, which is emunah, which is Shema Yisrael, tashbisu with the kayach of Shabbos. And with your calculators, when you come home, you're going to figure out that tashbisu, which means destroy it through Shabbos, is begematria Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. The word tashbisu is begematria 1118. It means the kayach of emunah, which is in the matzah, tashbisu. And the 10 psisim of the chametz, that's the ikar Amalek. These are the 10 sons of Amalek. And the last one, when we are matzliach to start with chachma bina das and destroy every one of these psisim, what it stands for, until we come down to the last son of Haman, then that's the last is Kneged Malchus. Then Malchus Beis Avet could come, Mashiach could come. So the last son of Haman is Vaizasa, right? Vaizasa is the Gematria Mashiach ben David. Once we've destroyed the 10th one of Haman, that means all the 10, we're ready for Mashiach Tzidkenu. So, when we cover this Pesach, this Erev Pesach, with the Biur Chametz, and with the baking of the matzahs, and with the Avodah by the Seder, this is the battlefront. When the Yidden went to fight against Amalek, it wasn't the fighting with the Cherev that counted. It was Moshe Rabbeinu who was Mispalel that counted. That was the Mechama of Amalek. He wasn't at the battlefront. He was being Mispalel. Arosh Hagiva. We are the Tzva Hashem to fight Amalek, to fight the Yishmaelim, with the Kayach of Shabbos, Esav and Yishmael. And like the Gemara says that Esav is a Zarzil, the Gemara declares a Shaila and Chulin, there's a certain bird that's called Zarzil. Is it a knife Tahir or a knife Tamei? So the Gemara says, Rabbi Yehuda says it's a knife Tamei, because the Zarzil always is in the company of the Oirev. Lama halach Zarzil Eitzel Oirev, Elam Mipnei Shehu Minai. So Zarzil, the Sfarim say, is Esav, and Oirev, Arab, is Yishmael. Halach Zarzil Eitzel Oirev, Vayelach Esav al Yishmael, the pasuk says. Zarzil and Oirev together, the Bnei Yissaschar says, is the Gematria Shabbos. It's the Kayach of Shabbos that destroys Esav and Yishmael. And this Pesach we have it. If Biur Chametz says on Shabbos, we destroyed the Zarzil and the Yorev. So remember, Chavre, you are Bnei Chayil. You are in the war. Be Ibegegeben the soldiers. Fight for a man Lakeinu v'Yarei Leman for Yerushalayim, for Arei Elokeinu, B'Yadameinu v'Yarei Elokeinu. Payu Yeshua. You can never tell. Sometimes a Pasha Tayyid who does a mitzvah with Amunah Shleima is Payu a bigger Yeshua than the biggest tzaddik. There was a mindset. That there was the Russians made a big gezeira on Jewish women. It was a meirodik gezeira. So tzaddikim got together and they tried to be mevatel that gezeira. It was the Rav Shitzer and the Rimanav sitting together and they were working hard to be mevatel that gezeira. All of a sudden they start smiling. So Rav Hersh Rimanav was there. That the lady became the Rimanav Rebbe. He was the Gabbai of the Rimanav. So of his Rebbe, Rav Mendel Rimanav. So he asked, why were you smiling? So he says, I'll tell you. We were trying to be Mavato the Gezeira, we couldn't. And there was an Amoretz that davened with Kavanah. And he didn't even know Ivra. So he said, Berches Hashanim Bashmanescha. And instead of saying, Baruch Shnoiseinu Kashan Matayvis Livracha, he said, the Baruch Neshaiseinu Kanashim Matayvis, Baruch Hashem Mavarech Hanashim. And with his bracha, he was Mavato the Gezeira that we weren't able to. You can never tell. A small little avodah from somebody in this room with emeskite can be Mavato the whole clip of Esav and Yishmael. Trebesh is a hofen, we should have a kosher and freilich and Pesach, and we should be zeiche to eat the matzahs that we baked for Pesach in Yerushalayim Abenuya, v'noich Hashem and Azvachim and Menapsachim, with all the Yidden together.